Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Talking Business. We thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Stephanie Van Vark, and I am a small business owner. So today we are talking to someone in the life coaching industry, and I think that's the first we've had on the show so far. And this is a time for life coaches like no other. So without further ado, Dr. Keita Joy, we'll bring her on board so she can tell us how that business is going. Hello there.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. Actually, we met through a friend, so I'm going to be learning today like you are. So we get some probing questions in there, see what we can learn about this business. Let's start with who are you and what do you do?
So I'm so sorry. I was sharing the live so everybody could see it.
Oh, good.
Yes. So tell you who I am?
Yes.
Okay, I could do that. My name is Keita Joy Dutante, and I go by Dr. Joy. That's my middle name. And I am a success coach, a corporate trainer, motivational speaker. And I'm just known for giving people the joy and the energy and the clarity that they need to maximize their greatest potential. So a lot of my clients, well, all of them, they're high achievers, and I help them get what they want in life, love, and business. So many of the clients that come to me, making money, that's not an issue for them. And what they notice is making money doesn't equal fulfillment. And it's deeper things that matter. So my clients come to me because they want clarity. They want to do some restructuring and or maybe they're transitioning into the next level of their career and their personal life. And so they come to me. So I'm blessed to be able to do that. And wife and mother of 2 kids as well. So I'm always on the go. Always.
We're definitely going to get to that motherhood right now in this during this challenging time. Are your clients individuals or do you work primarily through corporations?
It's both.
Okay.
So I have individual clients that reach out to me. Many clients I recommend first they go through one of my online courses that teaches them about my fundamental success principles that I have, which is to do it well, and do it consistently. But most of my clients consist of either individual or corporate contracts. So I have one coming up. I partner with the NFLPA. And do some work with them. I've done work with Lockheed Martin, just different Wyndham resorts, different corporations that call on me to talk to their employees, whip them into shape. No,
well, I can imagine this time is a very interesting time for you in terms of, you mentioned the NFL, the NBA. We've definitely been watching on ESPN when they
can't go nowhere.
This struggle of no sports, and it's making us all crazy. So first of all, how did they find you?
Ooh.
And now that they found you, what do you think they really are looking for in terms of how you can really motivate, inspire productivity in a corporate dynamic, especially one like in these times, during these times?
Yeah, definitely. I will say during these times, it's been very fortunate for my company to have already created long-standing partnerships with certain companies. For example, the NFLPA. So because of that, during a crisis, it was challenging, but since I had great relationships with these companies, they wanted to continue working with me even through the global pandemic. I know if I didn't have those partnerships, this time would have been even harder trying to find some from scratch, looking for those partnerships. So I've been very, very blessed in that standpoint. What I've seen right now, what companies are looking for, it depends. So I'll give you an example. The NFLPA, NFL, everything's shut down. NBA, everything's shut down. They're just now thinking about here at the ESPN Center in Orlando, Florida, having all the NBA games just in one hub, to stop the spread, hopefully to stop the spread. So with that, so many events that they originally had have all been canceled. Like literally this month, I'm sad. I was supposed to be in San Diego speaking to former NFL players and their significant others about how they can cultivate effective communication with one another.
Really?
Yeah, but you see what's going on. Ain't nobody going to San Diego right
No, no,
now.
no.
So with those companies right now, they're wanting to recreate those face-to-face experiences online.
Okay.
So
Good.
many of them are thinking outside the box because they're like, okay, I still want to serve my clients. I still want to meet their needs. We were doing this before face to face. How can we think outside the box and do it online?
Right.
So I've been very fortunate because I'm known for being a very creative and fun and outgoing speaker. So right away when they thought about that, they're like, oh, we got to get Keita on board.
Right. Okay, good.
So that's that standpoint. Then on the flip side right now, I go on our local Fox 35 station here in Orlando, and I've been talking a lot about racial discrimination, obviously with everything going on. So in the corporate space, many people have been reaching out to me inquiring about, can you come in and do some training, some webinars? Look, when I say come in, and like come into the Zoom, right? That's the come in.
And have a conversation.
Yeah, and have a conversation about different things related to implicit bias and cultural competency skills. What does it mean to be an ally? Those things are big hot topics right now. So I really feel like if you are a coach, that should definitely be a huge service that you offer. So for me, that was always one of my services. But any business owner, you're always paying attention to the needs of your consumers.
Right.
So it was one of them, but because it's such a need right now in our country, now that's become one of my most prominent services because I know that's what my clients need right now.
So you're having to, well, not you personally, but to adapt a little bit your products to really serve the needs of what the corporations are looking for. So have you lost any clients at this point just because we're, in such a challenging time with regards to revenue? Some corporations are now claiming bankruptcy. Has there been a fallback with regards to you with some of that financial transition with the corporations?
This is the crazy thing. The global pandemic has been difficult more so in my personal life rather than my professional life.
Good.
I would say because of the different services that the government has offered right now with the PPP loan that was available, I definitely was fortunate enough to take advantage of that.
Very good.
So I think this was a time for business owners to use whatever resources are available. So I took advantage of it. They had the economic injury loan.
Yeah, the emergency loan. Did you get that, really? Because I don't know too many people who got both, really.
I did. I got that one. That one I didn't get as much.
Okay.
But
that's okay.
I'll take it. I appreciated the direct deposit into my account. I
don't know too many people that made both.
So that was paramount. And that allowed me to be able to build and restructure. So I used those funds to restructure and realign my business with what's going on in our current time. So that was a huge win for me, being able to receive that loan. As far as individual coaching, that actually is doing okay.
Okay, really? Good.
If that person didn't lose a job, so remember, you have to know your clientele. So my clientele, they're high achievers. So many of those high achievers, they did not lose their jobs.
Okay.
So many of their stressors, it's more managing. They have issues managing everything right now because of COVID.
Right, absolutely.
They hired me like, Keita, help me manage.
Right.
Help me have clarity. Help me get a sense of peace of mind and a better strategy with moving forward. So they didn't necessarily lose things. They just needed help balancing and restructuring everything that they already have. So that was great. I mean, honestly, it has been personal life, like being able to juggle being a business owner and raising a 7 and 9-year-old at the same time. I need a medal. That was
you do. Actually, I'm telling you, I was going to get to that, but since you brought it up, I had a mother. I was reading your bio, and I recognize that, prior to the pandemic, you did a lot of traveling for coaching with corporations, that kind of thing. My mother was not an entrepreneur, but she was a high achiever, and her job required that she traveled a lot. So how do you, I mean, she seemed to do it okay. And I think I turned out okay.
You're looking good, girl.
The verdict's still out on that. You might want to ask my family if that's true. But so how are you managing that? What's the day-to-day figuring it all out conversation like before pandemic and after pandemic?
Look, you see, I'm like
travel.
That's all. Can I just say
a whole new product?
Before, I know prior to the pandemic, sometimes my kids would try to say things to make me feel bad from time to time, like, you have to travel again, you have to go out of town again, mommy, why? But sometimes they were doing that just to get all under my skin, but I know they miss me. And so they're old enough, and I would sit down with them and just remind them of why I'm doing what I'm doing, who it's for, and they're one of those reasons of why I'm doing it, and the impact that I'm going to make. And then I remind them, because normally most of my trips, they only last the most 3 days, and I'm back. And I'm like, y'all know I'm coming right back.
So don't lose your mind.
Yeah, I'm good. So I just having those conversations with them, and then once I do that, they're fine.
Okay.
Now with the global pandemic, I've been having to have different conversations with them because I have to work in the home, and they're in the home because my husband still has to go away for work as an engineer. And I had to get honest with them. I was like, look, this is not a typical summer.
Right. It's a whole different thing.
I told my friend, because I'm so dramatic, I was like, it's just like if someone had a child during the Holocaust or the Civil Rights era. I'm just saying.
It's different.
Is it my fault? It ain't.
It's different. You got to do something a little different.
It's just different, And so I had to sit down with them like, look, mommy loves you, and I want you to have the best summer ever. But it has to work within the guidelines that we all have. No one asked for this, but here we are. So we all got to step it up, because sometimes they would get antsy, kind of like, well, can we do this? And can we do that? And I had to stop that. I'm like, we're going to have to dead that.
From this point to this point is mommy work time. After that, we'll work from
and they learn. So even now, they're doing their own thing, and they know from a certain times, if I tell them I have a Zoom, because everything is Zoom, or the B, online, they understand that.
Okay.
But it took having intentional conversations. And at first, I did shy away from it, just because I felt like I didn't want to rob them of their innocence.
Okay.
That's the mommy in me. I want you to have a great summer, and I want you to play. But I was like, look, it ain't that kind of, it's just not that kind of.
At some point, they're going to have to learn that everything works out the way their plan is.
And, but we're going to make the best of it.
Coming from a mother who had to do that, I think I turned out okay. I'll send you an email from my family. We'll check it out. You can do the assessment yourself.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there's a lot to unpack. Corporate America is now shifting considerably. For the first time, corporate America is talking about this new dynamic of having employees work from home because they feel like it will help productivity. Are you concerned, and is there a conversation in the community, in your industry, of how to maximize that opportunity as well, of helping corporations make that transition to allow their employees to work from home, but still adapt to the new normal and the expectations from the new normal?
Yeah, what I've noticed, a lot of companies, they're very overwhelmed right now. They're overwhelmed. They're stressed because they're thinking about political implications and economic implications. Like everything is a chess move. So they're thinking about, if I say this, what's going to happen? And so now they're taking a step back, and they're reevaluating their whole employee structure. So many of them, I had to revamp my services, because before I only offered like trainings. So maybe a day training, a half a day training. But many of these corporations, what they're seeking consultants. When I say they don't know what to do, they don't know what to do. So they don't need a trainer. They need consultants. So I've been putting my consultant hat on. They need someone who will sit down with their team or down with their managers, their leaders, and assess, okay, well, let's look at your hiring process. How equitable is that, right? How fair is that? How's that representation looking across the board? How are you utilizing each person's skills and
Right.
and assets to the company? What does the team structures look like? And
Right.
then have you really taken the time to listen to your employees
Right.
about how they're feeling? One, before with COVID, and then now two, with racial discrimination in the
Mm-hmm.
country.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting a healthy climate, a climate of how your employees feel?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, once you find out how they feel, do you even know what to do with that information? Now
Right.
that you've got all this qualitative data, what do you do with it? And
Right.
so that's where I'm coming in now and helping companies like, okay, you've spoken to your employees. Now let's take this data
Mm-hmm.
and see how we can reframe and reshape your organization to where people feel validated. They feel like they have a sense of belonging, because when your employees feel like that, they're going to produce better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so,
They
but
feel safe and
and so, but they're in a place now, they are very open. So this is a
okay.
great time for coaches and consultants and trainers. Companies are open. So
Okay.
if you can clearly package and put together what your consulting looks like, people, they're ready for you. They are ready.
Now, let's flip the script a little bit. Of course, in the civil unrest, there's been a lot of conversations about municipalities, and many of whom have taken on the challenge of recreating a police department, a law enforcement structure, business that needs to probably be restructured. How does that look in terms of being an opportunity for coaching, in less on the private side, but more on the public side of how can what you do help my city restructure their police department so that it meets the needs of the community, but do so in with being able to manage a budget.
Right. There's so much internal turmoil within a police department that they really have to dismantle. And I'm talking about amongst each other.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
There is so much strife amongst each
mm-hmm,
other.
mm-hmm.
Then they're not unified, and they're getting out into the field, and they're supposed to be a team and help the
Mm-hmm.
community. It's difficult to
Not gonna
do
work.
when you don't see eye to eye. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them themselves, they need training amongst one another to sort out issues that they have even
Okay.
amongst each other as
Okay.
officers and people in the field, right? And then after they need those types of trainings. And then on top of that, they need training dealing with implicit bias, the way
Right.
that you see
Absolutely.
your community members.
Absolutely.
But that takes honesty. So it takes
True.
having a consultant and a trainer who can get in and create a space where people are honest. Because what I have seen, you can get a coach or a consultant who's got all this knowledge, but if you cannot create this safe environment where
Mm-hmm.
people are open and honest, no change will happen.
Will happen. I agree with that. I agree with that.
None. They will
So are
nod
you
their head.
targeting those kinds of clients?
Am I what?
Are you targeting those kind of clients, municipalities, to say, I can help you craft this right?
It's on the way. It is on the
Okay.
way. I literally have my strategist for repackaging some things, but absolutely, I did a training before last year with the North Miami Police Department.
After the situation.
Well,
Yeah.
no, this was, I think, no, before.
Okay.
Before, right before.
Okay.
Right before all of that. That's when I came
You'll
in.
have to go back on another show and watch
Yes.
what that was.
So, but the beautiful thing about being a consultant is helping them to see the flaws in a healthy way, to see the things that they need to change. And when it comes to the police department, they honestly really need to look at who's on the force.
Mm-hmm.
Are these
Mm-hmm.
people for the community? It doesn't necessarily mean that every police officer has to be Black. It just means that every single police officer has to have a heart for the community.
Right. I agree. I agree with that. So let's talk about you. I was looking at your bio, and you talked a little bit about how you basically had to invest in your own business. I believe right before the call, we talked a little bit about how you left a full-time job to really take.
I did.
So can you talk a little bit about what what plan or strategy went into making that decision? And then what was the investment? Not in terms of dollars, but where did that expense have to really go? Where do you have to focus on putting your dollars in order to really get yourself up and running?
Thank you. Yeah, I would say first and foremost, if anyone who steps out and starts a business, I commend them. It takes so much immense courage.
It does.
It's
It
a, it's
does.
a it does. Especially
Crazy courage.
same thing. To put something out there and hope that people catch the vision, right? That your target audience is going to catch the vision, and that not only will they catch it, you catch some coins
Right.
with this
While they're catching your vision.
with the vision. So for me, I would have liked to have had capital. I should have had capital already saved. I should have had a loan. I think a lot of minority businesses are lack and fail because they don't have that initial startup money, which is essential. So looking back, that's something that I would have sought after. I didn't know any better. I didn't know I didn't know. So that's the crazy thing. I have a bachelor's in marketing. So I have a great knack when it comes to branding and marketing. But as far as the structure of the business, I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't really have anybody around me to help me with that. So I had to invest all of my own money into building this up, which was extremely difficult when I just left a full-time job. And that was matching my husband's income. And so he's used to budgeting with 2 household incomes and then going down to 1. And then I don't have I'm already taking the little bit of capital I do have into the business. I barely have any money to bring home. So it was extremely challenging. I also was finishing up my doctorate at the time.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. That's how I am.
You're a high achiever. High achievers do that.
That's why I service people
they
like
don't
me.
think that too.
But it was a very, very difficult journey because I did lack the resources and I lacked the business support that was necessary.
Okay.
But I will say one of the things that is necessary that I did have is that commitment to your call. Like you have to believe like never before that you can do this. Belief is a powerful thing because belief will help you when your bank account looks low. It will. Belief will remind you that you can do it.
Right.
Because if you look at that account and you don't have the belief, you'll stop. You'll give up. Right. So what I had to do was I got a part-time job while I was building up my business. So that way I could still financially support the family and still use some of that income to pour into building up my business. But because I had to do that model, for me, building it was a slower process than probably someone else. But I don't have any regrets. Everything is for a reason to get you to where you are today and where you'll continue to go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but now when I mentor people, I'm always helping them. How can we find resources, funding, capital, loans for you so that you can build up your business properly? So having that part-time job was everything. I still remember my husband. He was like, look now, you're gonna leave your full-time job and you just gonna be out here building a business. He's like, well, what's gonna happen to the 60,000 you were bringing in? How are we gonna get that back? And he was like, I'll support your dream, but you got to get a part-time job. And God worked it out to where I got a position at a university here teaching life skills, and I'm a life coach. So just that alignment again was letting me know, Keita, you're on the right path.
Right. So how long have you been in business?
Since 2014. What's going on? With 2020, 6 years?
Oh yeah, 6 years. Yeah. And has that investment paid you back?
Yes. But not without crying, not without some.
I know, blood, sweat, and tears.
What? From the pit of the belly, I've had those types of cries. You know when you heave? Oh my gosh.
That's one of the questions I typically ask. Are you ever afraid as an entrepreneur? I'm going to guess from that, yes.
Yes. But what I teach people is, one of my sayings is to kick fear down with faith and walk in your purpose. So I think sometimes we have a bad warped view of fear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I tell people, because sometimes people are like, how you do this and do that? I'm like, listen, I get scared all the time. I just don't allow that to stop me.
Mm-hmm. Use it as fuel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they said they feel the fear and you do it anyway.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. I feel like too many times, especially as entrepreneurs, we get too connected to our feelings, and we allow our feelings to guide us rather than faith and facts. Those are the two F's that we're supposed to be focusing on, not our feelings. Because the feelings, depending on how you feel one day, you'll feel like you're supposed to give up the whole business.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank God I didn't go by feelings. We wouldn't be having this
every day
conversation right now, But I would listen to the facts. I would remember all the people telling me, wow, you've made a difference in my company. You've helped me being my coach. I'll think about how far I've come, even though it's not where I want to be. I'll think about how far I've come, and then I couple that with faith, and I'm like, I got this. I can do this. But definitely fear for sure. I have it. But I tell people, so what? So what you got fear?
Right.
Just go on and do it. Do it scared. And
I have a friend named Valerie. Hey, Valerie, how are you doing? She said, good, honesty, conversational. Thank you for the transparency.
Childhood schoolmate.
Okay, good.
We went to North Day Middle School together.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes. Small world. Yes.
Very cool. So let's see. I wanted to ask you. Great. No, and I got some other questions here.
I'm ready.
What part of your pivot plan, because you've talked about different ways you've had to pivot so far, and it's been great because you've been able to survive. What aspect of that pivot will you keep as you move forward? And what aspects are just temporarily for during this period of time?
When you said temporary, I thought about my kids right away. Let me tell you the temporary part. Let me tell you what we gonna go back
to.
Them kids gonna have somewhere to go every day from morning to afternoon. So
I was just talking to a friend this morning who's also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I was telling her Justin Timberlake said no parent should have to keep their kids for 24 hours.
Listen, I am not here to tell not one lie at all. Nope.
They're going.
So I did that latter part first. I'm like, look, if we could change something in the pivot plan, them jokers would be somewhere.
It's cool.
Pick a place.
Just here.
Now, what I will keep though, I have become a webinar beast.
Okay, good.
Beast, like, because I have so much energy, so I'm so used to like face-to-face presentations and talks and speeches and groups where we're connecting, and people are always like, oh my gosh, Dr. Joy, I love your energy, like all this stuff. And then now everything's reduced to a webinar. I'm like, well, how am I going to give them all the juice, all the sauce through the screen?
You'll be fine. I can tell by this. You'll be fine.
You can tell. He's like, you got this, girl.
You got this. You all right.
And so now through my job, through my university, the course that I teach, they've had so many cool trainings on like Zoom and just different applications. And so I've been incorporating that into the corporate space. So now when I do trainings, I have so much fun with the breakout sessions and the polls and just so many different activities and things that you can do to keep it engaging and to keep it fun. Because right now people are like getting Zoomed out, webinared out.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, they're like, another one? You know? Like, stop trying to make it seem like it's so much fun. No, it's not. We tired. But I've learned
over 8 hours.
But I've learned now really fun and innovative ways to keep these webinars exciting. And that is one thing that will definitely stay moving forward post-COVID, prayerfully post this COVID.
I know, very, very, very quickly. So what is your pricing matrix like? And again, I'm not looking at dollars and cents, but how have you been able to, because services is always a tricky arena. If you don't have a widget, how do you formulate a calculation, I guess, to assess how your pricing should look based on the clientele that you
That's
have?
a good question. I always first say, make sure you know your worth. That was something I had to learn through this entrepreneurial process. Because
That's the
after a
one.
while, I was like, oh my God, it's time to give myself a raise.
Right. Why am I doing
Because there's no like company, corporate
that? Right.
package where you're kind of like gauging what you're supposed to be making. I was like, oh, I need a raise.
I gotta make this
So
up.
one of the things I always make sure I do, and I do maybe at least yearly, I'm always checking compared to other coaches, consultants, trainers in the field based on years of experience and popularity and platform about the different range as far as prices that people
Okay.
set. Because it's always good to know the climate. You want to know. You don't want to have this, I'm God's gift to the earth, so everybody pay me $10,000. It's like,
Right.
well, come back down.
Right.
Come down.
Not-
Not that it's out of reach, but it's just, you just want to have a balance. And so that's one thing that I always tell people to do. Like, whatever your service field is, get out there and kind of get a gauge for what are other people's price points and why. Why is that their price point?
Right.
Is it because some people have it really strictly I've seen it just for popularity.
Right.
Not even so much experience, but just because of their name.
Right.
They're able
Absolutely.
to charge $10,000.
Absolutely.
Then you have people, well, they've put in that work. That resume is long. And so because of that, they can charge that. So you just have to start figuring out, okay, well, where do I fall in that when it comes to my experience level and the amount of influence that I have? So that's something that I had to think about when I was coming up with my price points. Now, as far as my business model price points for my different coaching packages, I've segued now more into online. So I have one online course. So when a lot of my clients come to me, or if they're interested, I funnel them through that first.
Okay.
So that helps with passive income.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that I believe every coach, consultant, you should always have some type of online program that you're offering. I don't care if it's $19.
Right.
Okay.
Something
Because
that.
$19 times 500 people, you know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
You're getting some change.
Absolutely.
So it's and then that it's working smarter and not harder when you're developing online programs, because it just took you one time investing in recording and creating the activities and the resources, and then once it's built, that's it.
Absolutely.
You don't have to keep going back to it.
Right. It's a product.
So that has become a service that's become essentially a product. So, and it's a beautiful product because you don't have any overhead anymore.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great.
So it's just every time it's just pure income.
Just pure income. So that was something that I had to shift to. Initially, when I first started my business, I didn't do that. And then as I grew, learned best business practices, I incorporated that. And then I do one-on-one coaching for that price point model. It's over a 3-month time period. And so at that point, if you're doing one-on-one with me, you're ready to make a significant investment.
Okay.
So I try my best before that. We can do the online coaching modules that I offer, or I can come in and speak to your group.
Okay.
I can do group coaching.
Okay.
But when it gets to one-on-one, if that's something you're looking for, I've built out my model where people know you're getting ready to invest kind of a more significant amount of money to be able to have that type of access to me and the wisdom that I have.
Okay. Fair.
Okay. But I would say the biggest thing is the online course. That's a great way. Effective way to bring in passive income. And then I have higher price points for my one-on-one coaching. But now a lot of my money that I bring in, it comes from the corporate contracts.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
So before we go, though, I want to talk right before we hopped on. We hopped on and had a little conversation prior to this. You talked about a program that you just started. And I really want you to share that, because that's, as I feel it, your corporate give back. And it's called it's called Armed. It's an online camp. Please share with us more about that, especially during this time, how very important that is.
Yes, and that came from pivoting. This whole project came from knowing how to pivot. I didn't know that I was going to watch George Floyd being murdered for 8:46 seconds. I didn't know that I was going to see Elijah McClain just walking, listening to music and dying. I didn't know that I was going to see Breonna Taylor in her own home being killed. I didn't, so these things just kept happening that I didn't know that I was going to be subjected to. And my heart was torn, like literally crying. I'm like, this cannot be going on in 2020. Why don't you see us as people? It's like, why can't you see me?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, what can I do to help my community during this time? How can I use the same way I'm using my talents and my gifts in my business? How can I use these same talents to intentionally help my community, specifically about racial injustice right now? Like, what can I do? And then this idea came to me. One of my friends was like, wow, I could really see you doing something for kids. That's all he said. Here I go. I'm like the idea generator. I was like, boom. I was just, I just ran with it. He was like, how you came up with all of that? I just said, do something with kids. And I just ran with it. And so what this is, it is called Armed, a Black Boy's Blueprint for Living in America. It's an online camp, which is essentially a course over the span of 8 weeks for Black boys ages 8 to 13. Now, if you're not 8 to 13, years old in that range, you can still watch it. Black girls can still watch it.
Right.
It's just that what we were aiming at when it comes to who we were focused on. But still, everyone else in the Black family is more than welcome to watch it. And I'm feeling in a need for something that I saw I needed and other Black families needed. We are having these tough talks with our children that we are not equipped to do.
Right.
As families, we're traumatized seeing police brutality on the screen. I'm traumatized. I'm working through my pain and providing for my family. And then I still got to mentally and emotionally muster up enough courage and know-how to have a conversation with my kids about something I'm still processing myself. It's overwhelming. It's
right.
overwhelming.
Absolutely.
And so I was just like, what can I do to help my community at least start that conversation with their children or family members? Or if they've started it, to continue that conversation. I know it's a burden. It's just a burden. It's a burden for families. And I was like, if I could do something to lessen that, then choose me, God. And so each speaker who's recorded, they're going to talk about Black history. We have a 15-minute video on that. Confidence building, knowing your rights, understanding legal matters, anger redirection, because all these things that you see, you get upset.
Right. Absolutely.
And I can't even imagine for a child, well, how do they wrestle and deal with that anger inside of them and make sure they channel it in a healthy way? I have a pediatrician that'll talk about healthy habits. We even have someone who wrote a book for Black boys, and she's going to have her children do a read aloud on there. Good. An interpretive dance that deals with the Black movement. So it is going to be something that is just going to fill our Black boys up with everything that they need to walk confidently in America. I didn't want to scare the kids. So I wanted you to leave it feeling empowered, feeling educated and equipped to be a Black boy out here in these streets.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I understand. Because there's a different approach you got to have when you go out in the world. Different art.
And then the way I did it is it's online and you can watch it whenever you want to. So that was another thing. I saw a need. There's a lot of programs for the youth right now, which are amazing, but a lot of them are like at a specific time, specific day that you have to log on. And I know as a parent, it's a lot going on. I don't like stuff where I gotta be at a certain place at a certain time.
Right. Absolutely. So they can always go back to it. And
it's too much. It's just, I just know from a parent standpoint, we don't need extra stress with deadlines.
Right.
So even though it's a great program, to a lot of parents, it still feels like a deadline. They got to be here at a certain time. So I wanted to give them a course where it's like, hey, no sweat.
Right.
It drops and you can watch the video and do the resources anytime that week. And so each week they would get a new module that they would be able to watch and do the resources that are attached to it, but it's at your pace. Everything is at your pace. And I did that because I know how our schedules are. We're in a COVID, it's COVID-19.
Right.
Ain't no true schedule right now. So I didn't want to add to that. I didn't want to add to your calendar, so to speak. It's just a tool that you can utilize. And the cool thing with it, it has taken off. Companies are interested in it. Churches are interested in it. And I'm blown away by the feedback just by me being obedient to purpose. That
Good,
was it.
good,
I
good.
fronted all the money myself for this project, and to see it, I mean, I just literally only posted a teaser flyer, and on Facebook, it got over 200 shares,
Okay,
over
good,
400
good,
likes. And
good.
I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Clearly, this is something the Black community needs. So I'm
Can you
excited for it
tag
to
it to
come out.
Talking Business too? Because I want to get that, or share it with me. I want to
Yes.
get it out there as well, because I do think it's very, very important. And as I mentioned, I have a brother with a son, and he's trying to figure out how to have those conversations with a 10-year-old. So I definitely want to make sure we share that with our audience as well, because
And then what we were talking about with, diversity and inclusion earlier, what I'm doing from a business standpoint now, because it's gotten so much traction, is businesses that want to partner with me and give their dollars to this project. In return, the tangible item, aside from branding that they'll receive, is I will go in and do D&I training for their
oh, nice.
employees and staff members.
Very nice, very nice.
So
So you've been able to bring some people on board for that. Okay, great.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
it's good, but I'm just excited to get this to Black families. It opens up this weekend because it's Independence Weekend, and I feel like we free, but we still fighting for our freedom,
God, yes,
right?
yes,
So
we are.
I wanted it to come out this weekend to symbolize
Perfect
what we
timing
are
too.
doing to continue to fight for our freedom.
And it's perfect timing also because, we're in Florida. You and I are both in Florida. So this is going to be a different kind of holiday. So this is a perfect time actually for families to really engage in watching it together and having those conversations, because, they're going to be home. And so this is a great time for them to do that. So
Yes, I'm excited about it. So ARM, the Black Boys Blueprint to a Living in America. I'm super excited about it.
And we'll find that on your website.
Yes, it'll be on the on the website, on my Facebook page, Instagram page. It's everywhere. And then this weekend, I will be releasing all the information. So on all social media sites, my newsletter, and on my website this weekend, It's going to be everywhere.
Okay, good. Perfect. So that brings me to, how do we find you? How do we
come find
somebody
me.
wants to reach you, how do they find you?
Yes, stalk me. Keep coming to my page, scroll, bother me, comment on stuff. That's what I want. Okay, you guys. So on social media, I'm on all sites at the Dr. Keita Joy. So the DrKeitaJoy. And then my website is keitajoy.com, KEITAJOY.com. And that's how you can reach me. And I love hanging out on social media. So let's hang out together.
Cool. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. Actually, it's been a lot of fun. So definitely when you come back down to Miami, call me. I want to hang out for sure.
I got a new friend in Miami now.
Say what now?
I said I got a new friend in Miami.
Yes,
now.
exactly. So you cannot come to Miami anymore without reaching out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the information. This has actually been a learning experience for me. And I love these shows because I think it's a learning experience for everyone who wants to get into business, and in particular your business. I think it's a perfect time to have those conversations. So thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
Thank you so much.
And everyone, I said hi.
They did good, right?
Yes, they did.
Give it up for the kids. That's right. Okay.
Have a good one. So thank you everyone for joining us today. That was a great show. I definitely might be reaching out again because I might need some help through maneuvering this as well. So thank you again for joining us, Dr. Keita Joy. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we will be talking to Guy Forshawn from the historic Virginia Key Beach and Museum. We're going to talk a little bit about how the museum industry is working right now, particularly in a time where essential businesses are struggling and entertainment businesses are struggling. But it's still very important that we stay in that realm of helping to support local businesses. Thank you for tuning in, my bestie, Ramona Graham Cotling. I see you. We'll see you again tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, again with Guy Forshawn. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.